Hello, super coaches. Welcome to our preview podcast. It's a massive week on the injury front. Some big trading to be made. We've got some breaking news coming on that pretty shortly. First of all, though, the panel, Rob Sutherland, back again, and also back on Twitter.
Only briefly, Thomas, only to hang on you. Oh, am I not allowed to say Sorry, you're going to have to beep that out.
So what? After 6 months? After 6 months, you just suddenly not only show back up on the SuperCoach podcast, which everyone is very grateful for. We're getting great feedback on that. Also, back into Twitter as well. It's a new Rob.
It's you. You brought it out. You bring the best and the worst of me, Thomas. As soon as I saw you, Captain Cleary, I had to share that with the 53 people who follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, I was looking into the fine print desperately. I didn't think I'd get it back up, but I wanted to find a loophole somewhere where I could actually get a captain. But in the end, I got no captain for the week.
No QR code for that?
No, there's not. And Jett, good to have you on the show as always. I'm surprised you showed up after what happened on the weekend.
Yeah, no captain and you still beat me. Traded out Ruben Garrick, had about 5 blokes score 20. It's a good thing the Hawks won the NBL Championship on Sunday because I didn't remember Garrick scoring all his tries, so it was good.
And how's your team going, by the way? We didn't.
All right. Like after a good round 2, my round 3 was I'd Cleary, I'd captain on Cleary, I'd RTS went down, Connor Watson went down, so there were some pain points, but overall I was pretty happy.
I did mention some breaking news, and that is that Ryan Papenhuyzen is in a little bit of doubt for this weekend with what appears to be an ongoing ankle injury. You're trading in Papenhuyzen, right? Does this affect your decision to trade him in?
Look, he's in my guilty pleasures, which is I know I shouldn't buy him. Ryan Papenhuyzen's almost certainly going to be injured at some point, and now he's carrying an injury in. But I still really want him. Goal kicking, with a great matchup. I want some of the Storm's attack. I don't have any, and I see him as probably the best and best priced way into it. So I'll probably still go that way unless we get definitive news.
Yeah, we're chasing that at the moment. Fatima Kadu is on the case, so we should know today, even though they play on Saturday. Does he kick goals though, even with the ankle injury? That's what's bugging me in the back of my head.
I wonder what ankle it is. It'll certainly
It's the right. It's the right. That's what he's clutching at.
Okay, yeah. I hope he plays. I brought him in last week, so.
You are the kiss of death, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. So I was planning to captain him this week, so let's hope he plays.
The other news coming through this morning is Keano Kini potentially out for the season. He's seeing a specialist. It's one of the options is surgery, which would rule him out for 4 to 6 months. That's a massive blow for my draft team because he's been killing it for me in the draft. I got him pretty late. Classic, it's not that big a news, except for the follow-on from there, in that Jalen de Groot comes in at fullback. He could be a cheapie to watch.
Is he available only at fullback, or is he
only centre wing?
Yeah.
But we've got obviously the DPPs coming in round 6, and if he plays there and Kinney is out, then he would get dual position.
Right.
What are your thoughts on de Groot? He is apparently the fastest player in the NRL.
Over 10 metres, yes.
According to the Telstra tracker.
It'll be interesting to see what happens because I'm not sure how long Foran's out for, but if they want to play Brimson at fullback in the maybe. He's a couple-week play, but he's definitely a good downgrade option in a couple of weeks when blokes like Shibasaki, Robert Toya, Purdue start to even out. He's in my cheapie of the week, so I'll get to him later.
Yeah. Another guy to look out for, I reckon, is Jenkins as well from the Panthers.
He looked so good at fullback the other day.
Yeah, he did. He did indeed. On to trades this week. I have to sell Dylan Lucas out for 6 weeks. Goes to Tino. I think that's a very obvious trade. The next one, not so obvious. I've got 3 cheapies who are basically duds in the forwards. I've got Royce Hunt, Hubner, and someone else.
It's a bit harsh on Hubner.
Demetric just not making any money for me at the moment.
Yep.
So I'm actually going to get rid of Royce Hunt and go to Nicholson, which costs money, but Nicholson's going to make some cash. And then my final one, which I'm tossing up, and I think I'm going to put a line through it, would be Ponga to Papenhuyzen. I think I'm just going to relax, chill out, enjoy the melodies, and not use a boost this week. What are your trades?
Hetherington's going out for Haas. I started with other good front rowers, but you just can't ignore the way Haas is going. RTS injured. I'm going to Alamotti. He's my pod of the week. The other is Ponga to Paps. We've discussed that. I might not do it. I might just go to Munster. It might be safer because I've got it at flex. Might go to Adam Reynolds, who I talked up last week. Talked up pre-season and still haven't bought. Or I might not trade, which is a smart move, but I tend not to do the smart thing.
Yourself?
I've got a lot of money in the bank. That's because I sold Garrick last week. So that's the silver
that's the
lining.
plus
It's the
side,
silver lining for selling Garrick. So I got about 750,000 to work with. So I'm getting 3 plotters out of my team. That being Royce Hunt, Kobe Hetherington, and Tom Duffy, who I didn't sell last week.
Nice.
I'm going to get in Matty Nicholson. He played 80 on the weekend, which I like to see. I'm going to get 2 Katoas in. So the first is Ellie Katoa from the Storm. Rob said he wants to get a piece of the Storm attack. I was flipping up between him and Angus Crichton. I really like Melbourne's draw over the next month or so. And we're getting in Isaiah Katoa. I think he's in for a massive season. He's already started really well. And he's going to be a nice little 2-week, 3-week play for me while Cleary sort of drops in price and he rises. So
yeah, he's
been
pretty damn good this year for sure. I'm a little bit worried about the base with him and not kicking goals, but certainly he's been in good form to start the year.
Yeah, no one. I reckon out of all the halfbacks in the NRL, no one digs into the line deeper than what Katoa does. So he's going to get a lot of attacking stats off that.
On to the no-go zone. This is a popular move to avoid. Now, for me, why are people selling Cleary? It just makes absolutely no sense to me to sell Nathan Cleary. He's only out for 1 week. Hold him, get through, and then when he comes back, he's got the Cowboys and the Dolphins. You could captain him in both of those weeks. Rob?
I'm furious with you, Thomas. I'm pretty sure before the show you said, now what's your no-go zone, Rob? And I said, selling Cleary. And you said, I'll go a different way then. No, that's fine. You just steal mine, right? And then jump in first. So what have I got? I've got nothing, Thomas.
That is so true. I've read the one. I've got Cleary written next to you on
that.
Just completely. Well, I actually meant to go Ponga, not to sell Ponga, because first of all, you don't want to use your boost. Second of all, his run's pretty good when he comes back from the bye. First up, it's the Dogs, tough matchup. Then he's got Tigers, Warriors, Rabbits, Titans, Para. So 5 of the next 6 games are easy clashes for Ponga. I think he's going to finish the year as one of the top fullbacks. So I'm going to hold off on the boost and just keep Ponga for this week.
I'll just say on that, right? So I think the differentiation is this. I think Ponga's one of the top fullbacks, right? Like he's one of the 5 or 6 at the position. Cleary is the top halfback. I don't think there's any doubt about it. As long as he plays and the same number of games as any other half, he's going to finish with more points. So I see him well in front, and that's why I'd hold Cleary for 1 week, and I might sell Ponga if he's out for a week with a bye.
Yep.
I'm a bit scarred last week after I said Payne Haas is a one to avoid. I'm going to stick with the Broncos. I'm going to go Adam Reynolds, even though you've talked him up. I think what he played on Friday night is as good as he's going to go. He scored about 120. I don't think he's got much more upside than that. He can pick up an injury very, very often. And another one is people who are selling Reece Walsh. I know he's been poor to start the year, but I just think he's so elite. He's going to lose cash, but their draw is so good, which maybe vetoes some of the stuff about Adam Reynolds. But I wouldn't be selling Reece Walsh, or I wouldn't be buying Adam Reynolds.
Yeah,
especially
I agree.
for Cleary.
If you're going to sell Reece Walsh, it was last week before the first price drop.
Yeah.
If you're still on now and you've got these 3 easy games at Suncorp Stadium, I think he's definitely
stay stubborn.
On to guilty pleasure. This is the move that you just can't help doing. For me, I've got David Fifita in the team, and I'm going to hold him. It doesn't make much sense because he's not getting the minutes. But there were some positive signs on the weekend where he stepped up to around 50 minutes after playing 30 the week before. I just feel Fifita is going to be one of these guys that in about round 6, everyone's going to be getting on when he's bottomed out in price, and I'm going to be able to save the trade because I already own him.
Yeah, well, I'm in the same boat as you. I've got Fifita, and I'm going to hold him. It was good to see him come on after play 55 minutes instead of playing 30 minutes on the weekend. I didn't know. I've got Mark Nwang and Tuivasa-Sheck, but I reckon I'm going to switch up. I'm going to go Harry Grant. He was horrible on the weekend. He scored 26, but I'm hoping that a big scorer is incoming for him. He's such a good attacking player. He's sort of put away his running game in the last few weeks. I'm hoping with a softer draw, he can sort of let loose, run the footy, score a couple tries, get a couple try assists to maybe Ellie Katoa. That'd be pretty handy. So especially with Jerome Hughes out, maybe he takes a hold of the offense more.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at him coming down in price, and I've got guys like Mamazelos, Sandon Smith, Tom Starling going up in price, and it's going to be the perfect little trade when Grant bottoms out and they peak.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to turning Arthurs into Fafita when you've lost 200k on the move. So, stay
Well,
for
the other option is to sell him and then buy him back, 150k cheaper in a couple of weeks. But I also want to save trades.
Yeah, look, my guilty pleasure is selling Ponga. I'd say I won't do it, that I shouldn't do it, but I will do it.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I'm going to go really guilty and go Paps or safer.
Time for this week's best bets, powered by Better. Now, I got up in my punters club last week with my bets, so I'm pretty happy with that. Top of the table in the punters club, as per usual. Actually, I'm second. I'm off by 4 cents from the winner. This week, I'm going boring again. Broncos, I think they're going to absolutely smash the Dolphins. They're the equal best attacking team in the competition, coming up against the Dolphins, who are three losses from 3. So I've got the Broncos minus 16.5. You can double your money on that. What are you thinking?
Well, I had an awful tip last week, but I tipped plenty of winners on Golden Slipper Day. So hopefully if you followed me on that, you had a good week, but not on my Cobbo bet. I'm going to go no try scorers this week. They're not going good for me. So I'm going to go Panthers and Melbourne head-to-head into Parramatta plus 18.5. I think that's a massive start for Parramatta.
Yeah.
They always seem to play well against Manly at Brookvale. Yeah. I loved Iongi, how good he looked on the weekend. And to only, lose by 8 against the Bulldogs, I thought that was a great effort. And Manly seemed to play good one week and bad the next, so I'm hoping they play bad this week.
Yeah, there's that Silvertails rivalry going on. They always seem to fire up.
Yeah.
Your bet.
I'm going to stick with my losing formula, which is anytime try scorers, and just keep adding to it until eventually I hit the jackpot. I got Alamotti against Souths, Walsh against the Dolphins, Saab against the Eels, and Jojo Fafita against my Roosters. That'll get you $7.
$7, that's pretty good. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Pod of the week time. I think you've both given them away already early in the show. So I'll go with mine first. Kyle Ero, absolutely killing it. We know that he is a good base stat guy, and when he runs the ball as much as he does, he gets the tackle bust as well. Didn't score that many tries last year. We were all just waiting for those tries that didn't come. But this year, he's getting the tries as well. I really like him at your Sharkies.
Yeah, well, it didn't
3% ownership.
helped him that he was going up against Michele Ravalawa's side. He was just letting him go through for fun, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But as I said earlier, Isaiah Cattell was mine. He's averaging 70 to start the season. I think he's arguably the most exciting young halfback in rugby league. He's got a negative 15 break even, so he's got I think the Broncos can leg points, and he's got 2 nice matchups, and then hopefully we can just get straight to Cleary in a few weeks. So yeah, Isaiah Cattell for me.
Alamotti for me. So he's played the Sharks, the Roosters, the Storm, which on paper are 3 of the better defensive teams, certainly out wide. He's averaging 83.7. He's got Rabbits, Cowboys and Dolphins as his next 3. So arguably 3 of the softer teams. So I expect he's going to at least maintain, a 75 plus average, and he'll kick goals this week too.
Yep, I like that. Matt McInerney, our esteemed night editor, he runs the night shift like a Swiss watch. He has asked, is it crazy or simply irresponsible to use another boost given it's only round 4? Well, Rob thinks you can boost up like crazy. I'm going to try and restrain myself.
I'm a big fan of trying to set your team up. So, if you're chasing cash or, building a team for solid, decent reasons, or even if you're just rage trading Ponga, boost, get it out.
Yeah, I'm going to boost again this week, so go for it. You can't keep him with you, so boost if you need to.
We've got a question from Mike saying, if you started with Isaiah Yeo for his guaranteed 60 to 90 a game, would you be selling? So he's still playing 80 minutes, averaging 62 points, but he's still going to drop a fair bit in price. But he's got that easy run coming up as well. Look, if you paid up for him, I'd probably be tempted to just hold Yo.
Yeah, I wouldn't sell him. He took on a lot of the first receiver sort of stuff when Cleary went down the other day, and that certainly helps. Doesn't help all his running base and that sort of stuff. So he is what he is. We all know what he is. He's not going to lose cash unless you sell him. So
yeah, Yo's one of those season buy, set forget kind of guys. He's not very explosive, but he'll come good.
Yeah.
He has every other year.
Yeah.
I'll start it with a question. This is from Sydney Kiwi. He is asking thoughts on Jenkins from Penrith. He remains in the team and looks to have taken Casey McLean's spot. It's only at 215k, scored 91 at fullback on the weekend. Not quite sure where he plays on the weekend, this coming weekend, because you've got Laurie in a bit of doubt, so he could easily play fullback. He's been named at centre, but then Alamotti could easily come into centre and he could switch to a wing. So he could play centre, wing or fullback this weekend. In any case, the job security looks good in that he seems to have leapfrogged Casey McLean into that team. So definitely look, and he could be the most purchased player next week.
Yeah, he's my cheapie of the week, but he's also my cheapie for next week.
Yeah.
Kind of having a bob each way. I don't think you go this time. I think probably the Panthers. Ivan likes to play this Ducks and Drakes with his centres and wings. I assume Alamotti's going to move into the centres and Jenkins will move to the wing, but who knows?
Where's Jesse McLean at?
Sitting in
reserves,
New South Wales Cup
Yeah,
reserves.
well, everyone thought a couple of years ago he was the man, and yeah, he seemed to be leapfrogged by a bloke who was signed. What was he signed to play? One of those, Harold Matz, and he's just got upgraded a few contracts after a bit of a down season at the Knights. Yeah, I'm going to look at him again this week, and if he holds his spot, he's certainly going to come into consideration.
He looked great at fullback with 3 try assists, looked very calm in that position. On to the guy who is the cheapie of the week, Matty Nicholson. Do you have him? Is he a must-have, Rob? I've noticed that you're not bringing him in, so you think he's not.
I'm not.
Why are you not buying him? Because I think he's pretty close to a must-have.
I see real Morgan Smithies areas here, and he's a good defender. He might make 40, might make 45 tackles, but he might also only make 6 runs. In the first game, sure, 2 of those runs paid off and he got tries, but I mean, that's not going to keep happening, right? So the way I look at it, it's Smithies started last year at 345k, had 6 or 7 games where he was doing 55 plus in base, went up 140k, and then sort of held it, lost it, really didn't do much after that. I expect the same from Nicholson. Yeah, you come in, you're trying to establish yourself in the team, you work really hard, but then you, like a few games in, you go, wow, this NRL's tough. I can't do this week in, week out. It's a bit harder than being back in England. And your pace comes off, his base will come off. I just see it as a slight, like you're buying a mid-range guy you don't want to play in your 17 who's not going to make you that much money.
The thing about Smithies, though, is he's no chance to score a try. I'll get any attacking stats. Whereas this bloke, he runs an awesome line. And obviously they had a bit of a hiccup on the weekend, but they scored 30 points their first 2 games, and he scored 2 tries in his first game for him. So I think he does have attacking upside to actually... Like, he scored 100 in his first game. Smithies will never get close to 100.
Look, I'll preface it by saying I hate the Raiders. And that
fair
does
enough.
taint me.
Yeah.
But I'll that's where I stand on it.
It is a little
We'll
bit
see
of
in a
an
few
issue, Ricky Stewart, because we know how he can just flip-flop with his team selections. But also they've got, not Papali'i, who's back this week. Tapane is back this week. I don't
But
think
Smithies
that,
is out this week, right?
Yeah,
So we'll know better next week when they're both available.
Yeah, I don't think it affects Nicholson too much, because he should just play big minutes on an edge. But in any case, Ricky Stewart, it's one of those things at the back of your mind that you're like, what is Ricky going to pull off this week? The other guy at the Raiders who Tapane being back affects is Trey Mooney, who was just brilliant on the weekend. 89 points in 44 minutes. There was no big attacking stats in there. There are 1,000 offloads, but no big attacking stats. He goes back to the bench this week, so won't get as big a minutes, but definitely a guy to watch for next week.
Yep, 100%. He's had big raps on him the whole way through. I remember watching him at Leichhardt a few years ago when he played under 19s.
Yeah, been talking him up for a long time.
Yeah, he was their leader there, so he's going to take the mantle at some stage. Whether it's this year or not remains to be seen. But if there's a few injuries, he's definitely one to look at.
SuperCoach Plus, your free trial has run out, so all the stuff that we talk about on this show, like break-evens, projected price rises, even just as simple as the players that are in or out or injured that week, it's all in SuperCoach Plus. $29.95 for the year, or you can get the full code subscription. That's all SuperCoach, all articles, everything for $59 for the year, $1 a week. It's a bargain. Captaincy, what are you thinking this week?
VC Alamotti and C on Turbo.
Yeah, can you not captain Turbo this week? Is it even an option?
Yeah, because if you trade him out like me, you just gotta not watch that game with Ruben Garrick.
If you own him, you just have to captain Turbo this week, right? So. At Brookie against the Eagles.
Yeah.
Well, my VC it'll depend if Papenhuyzen plays or not. I'm going to VC him and stick with my boy Nicho Hynes, Shark Park. Yeah. Looked awesome last week. Could have scored anything, but they sort of took the foot off in the last 30 minutes or so. he was on 90 after the first half and was taking the line on. When he scored that try in the first 5 minutes, I was thinking, oh, here we go.
I was a bit disappointed by it, I'll admit. Even though, I could sense your joy. I still hated it.
I bet. Trinder looked awesome too. So hopefully they play more through Hines. He was playing second receiver a lot on the weekend, which he was playing a lot of first receiver the first 2 games. So I like to see that, get a few more try assists. And he should have had one more, but Stone Street dropped it on that big jump he did.
Stone Street is sneaky by my draft this week as well. Hopefully I can grab him. So in terms of some of the stats, you got Haas, most popular captain at 14%. What do you reckon about a forward captaincy option? It's a bit of a blast from the past. This is Corey Parker, Paul Gallen areas from a decade ago.
I copped it. That's one reason I stayed off Twitter, Thomas. I hopped back on and someone's like, oh, look at you, don't captain the forward, who's boring. I'm like, see, this is why I hate this bloody site. That and Elon's nazification of it. But look, I think he's a good VC option, but I still prefer the upside of the backs. It's just the way I'm going to play it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Fafita as my VC. Up against the Roosters, who he backflipped against. I think that could bring something out of him. And you made a good point in the office yesterday that he's missing Foran. He needs someone to run a hole off. The other side of that is that when he's not getting good ball, he just sometimes tucks the ball under and then just busts 5 tackles and no one can tackle him. So I would prefer Foran be there instead of AJ Brimson, but coming up against the Roosters, I think he could fire up a little.
AJ's not on his side anyway, so I've noticed AJ's playing left and he's doing absolutely nothing for me. So I love that. But Campbell likes to run first anyway, so I don't mind it.
A couple of things to point out as well. Ponga's still at 12%. Change your captain. Cleary's still at 7%. Change him. And then onto our final thought. What have you got? You're twitching in your chair. What have you got to get off your chest?
I am wary of every week coming out like Ricky Stewart and bashing the refs. But, again, another whole week of watching footy, and you watch the attacking player steps off the mark, steps sideways off the mark, takes the defender out of play, rolls him over his back. They get away with it every single tackle. And the defender lays a little hand here or there. Boom, we've got 6 again. There's 2 sides in rugby league. There's attack and defence. And I think that the way we're going is that defence is being taken out of the game and it's just this high-speed attack and it pisses me off. I'm like, at least let the defenders defend. Thank you.
You want some 6-4 thrillers coming up?
No, I just want to honour the rules of the game, right? like the attacking player, the defenders have to honour every ticky-tacky rule of the game and the attackers don't, and they should.
Mine, you might agree with this. I was just looking at the, where everyone's playing this week, and you notice that the Dragons are playing Melbourne at Cogra, whereas 2 weeks ago before the bye, they played South Sydney at Wynn Stadium. Wouldn't you think that you do, a Sydney club versus Sydney club at Cogra? They seem to do this all the time. Yeah. Wynn's going to sell out regardless. Cogra, sometimes you can not get that many fans there. But I remember last year when they played the Bulldogs, it was a massive game. It just seems like they get it wrong sometimes.
Local derbies with local teams, definitely. Souths would have been huge.
Even the last few years, Cronulla and the Dragons have played at Wynn Stadium, which just doesn't make sense at all.
Because you can only fit 16 people at Shark Park.
No, these days, yeah. And half of those are sitting in King Wan watching as well.
I'm no ref. Yeah, half of them are lined up the whole game trying to get a beer. So, yeah.
Mine is just if you're using a boost, don't go sideways. You need to make money off the trade, or you need to be bettering your team somehow. Don't just go a keeper to a keeper. That is my final word for today, and we'll take some questions as well. Josh Langridge, giving Luai one more week to step up. If he doesn't crack 60, I'm selling. Would you be selling Luai? He's only averaging 30. I mean, you should have sold last week. Yeah. If you've hung on this long.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to turn around, though, because he's just not running. He's playing as a distributor, setting up that team, rather than as a runner, which he did a lot more at Penrith.
It's a tough mental thing to acknowledge your losses and sell them, right? But that's what you got to do. Sell your losses, keep your wins. And Luai's a loss, you just got to move him on.
I mean, Luai's been great for other guys in the team, like Buller and Galvin in particular.
Sure. But that doesn't help.
It doesn't translate to Supercoach.
He was never really a big Supercoach scorer at Penrith anyway, when he was in his best role. I'm very stubborn, so if I had him, I'd just hang on and hope that he comes good at some stage. But it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, does it?
Final question, will Harry Hayes get dual position? So he's one that we made a bit of a mistake on. He's at centre wing at the moment. So yeah, he will. He's only been playing as a forward. So he'll get either 2RF or front row forward, probably 2RF. We'll have a look into it. But there is a dual position story coming out later today. So keep an eye out for that.
Curran get ref?
Yeah, that was brilliant social media content from Hatton Kenny. Shout out to him over the weekend. That's it for our preview podcast. We'll be back for the teams podcast next week. See you then.